Good evening, vinyl community. Happy 2022. This is it's Rob back for another video. This is my first video of the new year, and yeah, in about a week or so's time, I will actually be celebrating my 2 years in the vinyl community. So I may or may not, probably not, do something for that. I don't know. You know me. I'm pretty lazy when it comes to conceptual videos, let's say. But anyway, notwithstanding why we're here this evening. Okay. Well, obviously, Rob Walker has put together a vinyl tag for 2022 in the absence of anybody else currently doing one. As I'm recording this, I'm not aware of any other contenders putting one into the mix. I know Andrew from Tales from the Crate has taken sort of upon himself to do one of these the last couple of years. I know Vinyl Richie also did an alternative one, which was pretty interesting, I think last year. So yeah, I mean, the more the merrier. It doesn't really matter, does it? Because everybody does different questions, they interpret them differently, and it's all good fun. So yeah, okay, so let's crack on with this. Otherwise I'm going to be here all night and you don't want that. So a favorite album purchased in 2021. This was a real no-brainer for me. This is my absolute favorite pickup. This is Michael Chapman's fantastic 1970 album, Fully Qualified Survivor. Yeah, I heard this album probably 2 or 3 years ago, streamed it, absolutely loved it. Ben actually got in a reissue of this for me, which unfortunately didn't had some issues on side 2, which is actually my favorite side of this. And I just said to him, I said, if you ever come across another copy or a better copy, let me know. Had no idea that he would, didn't think for 1 minute he'd get a minty original copy, first edition, but he did. It wasn't cheap, but I was very, very happy to pay the money for it. Yeah, wonderful original on Harvest, UK original. Yeah, if you've not heard Michael Chapman, he's a fantastic progressive folk guitarist and songwriter. He's sometimes sort of like sort of likened to people like Roy Harper and so on. So naturally, obviously, I'd like him, but he's very different. He does play with some dropped tunings and alternative tunings and so on, but nothing really, really surreal or strange. Yeah, there's a psych edge to this album, but it's just wonderfully lush lyrically and musically. It's quite a long album, so you get lots of music for your money, and it's just a fantastic voyage from start to finish. So absolutely recommend you buying or getting a copy of this. So yeah, I'm also after his fantastic debut as well, which is even harder to get hold of and probably even more expensive than that was. So, but hope springs eternal. So hopefully I'll maybe snag a copy of that this year. Album by the first person you saw live. Okay, well, interestingly, the first person I ever saw live was somebody quite close to me. And that's actually my brother Steve. So this is actually a CD of his first album, or CD. It was never on vinyl, obviously, because he couldn't afford to press vinyl. But he did, I think, a couple of hundred copies of this, and I do have a spare copy. So if anybody wants to stream this, this is on Bandcamp or from his website. I believe that you can certainly still download it. Whether you can actually get a physical copy or not, I don't know. But I do actually have 2 copies of this, so if somebody loves it enough, I would be happy to send them a copy. But yeah, so anyway, so yeah, my brother Steve is a fantastic influence in terms of musically. He's a great songwriter. He's dedicated his entire life really to playing, performing, recording music. He works with a lot of people with mental health issues and so on, helps them develop their own songwriting abilities and so on as well. So, yeah. But anyway, so I was, I think 1982, something like that. I was about 14 years old. I think he stashed me in the back of the car or something, or I was in the back of somebody's car or something like that. So I wasn't old enough, and he was playing at a pub I think called the Railway in Dorwich. And obviously I wasn't old enough to go into the pub, but I could sort of sneak at the back door and kind of grab a glimpse of him as he was playing and so on. So yeah, that was my first foray into experience of a live artist or band, was seeing my brother perform live. So yeah, um, that's Steve. Okay, album by a duo. Okay, this is one I think I showed fairly recently. This is a wonderful record which I discovered from Jonas's channel, Jonas Sublime Media. Great guy from Sweden, has fantastic taste in music, loves jazz, progressive, krautrock, lot of really interesting pop and rock. And this is one that he showed a few years ago, and this is a group called Heaven and Earth, and this is their album Refuge from 1973, which I believe was their only actual release. So these are I can never remember the names, Pat Geffel and Joe D. Andrews. So if you think ABBA but with a kind of transcendental edge, you're sort of getting a sort of feel, but more folky, I guess. And yeah, it's just the harmonies are to die for. Think CSNY. They definitely give them a run for their money. Yeah, fantastic record. I think there was a limited pressing of these, of only a few hundred, that are no longer available. You could probably get one on eBay or something secondhand. I didn't want to do that, and I don't think they're any available anyway. So I ordered the CD from the US, and very glad to get it. So yeah, fantastic. Okay, album The Shrink. This isn't an old album. In fact, this is a reissue from last year. Probably my favourite album of the 1990s. This is first time reissue by the wonderful Supergrass, and this is their sophomore release and arguably their greatest album, In It for the Money, from 1997. Absolutely adore this record. Yeah, this has actually a really, really nice textured sleeve, but I can't really appreciate it because it's still in the shrink wrap, with the hype sticker, on blue vinyl. I think, I can't remember. Yeah, I think it's on blue vinyl. But yeah, anyway, so it's that's an album in the shrinky dink. Okay, so a concept album. Yada yada yada. Yeah, War of the Worlds. It's a classic H.G. Wells novel. Conceptual story about Martians, overtaking the world, apocalypse, and all that kind of thing. Yeah, sort of fairly topical of the kind of existential threats that we kind of face these days, I guess, without getting too kind of political about things. But yeah, so that's my choice for a concept album. Jeff Wayne's wonderful War of the Worlds. Okay, our album you've not played yet. Okay, this is an album obviously I've heard, but it was a brand new copy that I ordered off Amazon a couple of days ago, but haven't yet taken out of the shrink. This is Out of the Cool, which is by the Gil Evans Orchestra. Okay, so Gil Evans was a Canadian jazz orchestrator who sadly died in 1988, but he was responsible for a lot of kind of cool jazz, free jazz, etc., in orchestrated form. This is a record that I saw shown on the VC a while back, and I immediately thought that it was going to be kind of big band jazz, so I kind of ignored it. And then I later streamed it and realized that it certainly isn't that at all. It's very lush and atmospheric, wonderfully produced, as you'd expect from these kind of impulse, I guess, albums from the '60s, and yeah, a wonderful listen. So that's Gil Evans Orchestra and Out of the Cool. Okay, artist you discovered in 2021. Well, this is an artist that I was aware of, but I hadn't actually sort of heard his music. But once I did, I was absolutely hooked. This is Dave Evans. So this is a reissue on Earth recordings. This is the Words in Between, which is his first album from, I believe, 1971. And Dave Evans, yeah, he's another progressive kind of folk artist in the realm of, I guess, Bert Jansch, Roy Harper, and so on. Incredible musician. Just plays like nobody else. Weirdest tuning, strange melodies, but very accessible. Short, interesting songs with a wonderful lyricism and sort of wit. Just immaculately recorded. Just him and the guitar, because when somebody's as good as this, that's all you need. Absolutely fantastic. That then led me on to get this one, which is his last album, which is Take a Bite Out of Life. He actually only recorded 4 albums in his lifetime. He sadly passed away last year. This is in 1976. This is his last album, I believe, which is excellent. This is I think it's a DJ or promotional copy. It's completely and utterly blank, as you can see. But the music and the songwriting is just absolutely sublime. Just fantastic, honest, interesting, transcendent, all those great things that you look for in really great original music. This one's probably actually my favorite out the 4. The second one, unfortunately, which is called Elephantasia, has never been reissued. And even the guy that I read the review on, who was a lifelong friend of Dave Evans, knew him and written about him, he didn't actually have a copy of that album either. So it's well overdue for release. But this is his third one from 1974. This is called Sad Pig Dance. And this is all instrumental. Wonderful. Again, fantastic. Not a bad moment on this. It does the incredible stage fright, which you can actually see him performing on YouTube on the Old Grey Whistle Test. And it's just a masterclass in acoustic guitar playing. You just watch him and just weep. He's that good. Not only was he a great lyricist and songwriter and musician, but he also built his own guitars, and yeah, could also brew his own wine and so on. And yeah, just friends commented just how ridiculously, disgustingly talented he was. So yeah, that's Dave Evans anyway. So yeah, definitely check him out. His first album is quite easy to get hold of. It's I believe it's still in print, and you can order reissues of that. So I think the original actually had that as the front cover, but so that's the reissue version that I have. So okay, live album. No, it's not Flashes from the Archives of Oblivion by Roy Harper. It's Cannonball Adderley Quintet, Mercy, 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 live at the club, 1967. This is the original mono release on Capitol. And it's fantastic. It's bluesy, ballsy, upbeat, wonderful energy, and just ultimately just great fun to listen to. So really love that one. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, album from a different continent. There was a load of records I could have shown falling into that category. This is a reissue that I picked up last year, which I absolutely love and I can't stop playing. This is Quarteto MC. This is a Brazilian female quartet, just girl group, Brazilian girl group. Fantastic record. This is their 1972 self-titled release, which is basically slated to be their greatest album. I have streamed some of their other music, which is good, but this definitely is the one to get. They do fantastic version of Tudo que você podia ser, which I've probably murdered the pronunciation of. But again, just beautiful harmonies, fantastic upbeat rhythms that you get with this kind of Tropicalia kind of feel of music from this era. It's just absolutely wonderful. Just lifts your spirits, and I've had some really shitty times in the last few months, and listening to this kind of music just absolutely just elevates you out of the crap. It really does. Yeah, do yourself a favor and listen to some of this stuff. You really won't regret it. Okay, album with a price sticker on the jacket. Okay. Some of those that I had, I've actually taken them out of the shrink because I had a really bad experience a couple of times with some original records that I was keeping with hype stickers and so on. One of them ripped and destroyed the cover, so I've got this kind of policy now where, by and large, I usually take the shrink off and just keep the keep the hype sticker, regardless of how old it is. So, but this is one where it's actually stamped onto the sleeve for all time, so you've got no chance of actually getting it off. This is the greatest of Nat King Cole, volume 1 and 2. So this is the American release with $4.99 there, as advertised on TV. So yes, you'd have rushed out and got volume 1 and 2. Maybe they were available as separate albums, and then it was released as a special gatefold with the 2 in 1. I don't know. All I know is that the music is fantastic. Nat King Cole, what can you say? Wonderful voice, fantastic, timeless tunes. Okay, punk or new wave album. This is probably one of my favourites of all time. It's certainly my favourite by this band, and I know this is one that Rob Walker loves too. This is the Jam and Sound Effects from 1980. Yeah, what a wonderful record this is. Pretty Green, Monday, Start, That's Entertainment. Yeah, which are the two singles. Yeah, obviously Start, wonderful nod to Taxman and the Beatles. But yeah, great album in its own right. And I think a high point for me in Paul Weller's songwriting. Fantastic, fantastic record. Okay, a box set. Another one that I didn't show that long ago, but yeah, absolutely love this. This is the 30th anniversary of The wonderful debut album, Soul Mining. I say it's Matt Johnson, basically, who's the de facto leader of the group, as it were, but he plays most of the instruments with some session musicians, including the wonderful Jules Holland, who does a fantastic piano solo on the album version of Uncertain Smile. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. So, if I can get the lid off, as I say, you go back through one of my older videos, you'll see this deluxe edition. 2LP, I say 2LP, it's got the second album is all the 12-inch versions and unreleased single of the non-album single, which was Perfect. Yeah, I'm not going to get it all out, otherwise we'll be here all night. So wonderful, wonderful stuff. The Soul Mining album with a sporting theme. I don't have an album with a sporting theme, but I've got this. This is Edgar Ferris's 1979 album Stuntman. Edgar Ferris from Tangerine Dream, of course. And you've got this helmet motif here. And Stuntman, I don't know, is being a stuntman a sport? Yeah, it's a fairly hazardous sport, isn't it? Even though it's not an Olympic sport, but there you go. So anyway, yeah, Edgar Ferris and Stuntman. Okay, a jazz album. This is one of the first ones that I bought, and is still probably my favourite and the one I've played the most. This is the wonderful, I think this is 1964, is it? 3, 4, I'm not sure. Oliver Nelson and the Blues and the Abstract Truth. I love jazz when it's musical, but also a little bit abstract as well. And this just has that in just perfect balance for me. Hits the sweet spot. Absolutely love this. So who's this? Paul Chambers, Eric Dolphy, Bill Evans, Roy Haynes, Freddie Hubbard. Yeah, you can't really go wrong. There was a follow-up album which I've got to this, but it's not quite as good as that. Okay, a best of. Okay, this is probably one of my favourites, Best of the Spencer Davis Group. I'm a Man, Give Me Some Loving, Keep On Running. Yeah, fantastic, amongst others. Wonderful vocals of Steve Winwood. Okay, album with at least 8 people on the jacket. Okay, so we have the original soundtrack from TCB, Diana Ross and the Supremes, which I think was a TV special from 1968, possibly, I'm not sure. So you got the Temptations, 5 Temptations here, and all 3 of the Supremes here. Mary Wilson, obviously, Diana Ross. She's repeated there at the bottom, but that's still 8. We've actually got 9, technically. If I hadn't have said that, you'd have thought there was 9. Well, there you go. Okay. And a soundtrack. Okay. Yep. This is easily my favourite soundtrack find from last year. This is the wonderful original television soundtrack of The Adventures of Robinson Crusoe. Showed this not so long back, and I must give a shout out to Graham Allen, who gave me a heads up on this record that he mentioned in a video of his, and he actually had this a CD release of the soundtrack that I think came out in the 80s or 90s that was cost him a lot of money. But yeah, as soon as he said that this had been released in its entirety, yeah, it's just contains some of my favourite memories from when I was a kid watching this in the summer holidays, as I'm sure a lot of people from my generation enjoyed as well. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful stuff. So yeah, thank you, Graham. Great stuff. Okay, show some VCLT. Another one I showed fairly recently. Wonderful Mr. Martin Parrot. Yeah, he who's also known as the Vinyl Scavenger. He sent me this because he upgraded his copy. This is wonderful Christian band, folk band Parchment, and their 75 album Shamble Jam. I have actually bought their debut album, which is probably equally as good as this, which I'll be showing in a later video. But yeah, thank you, Martin. Wonderful stuff. Okay, a album with no writing on the jacket. Nice and easy. Pink Floyd The Wall. I know the first pressing of this came with a kind of transparent sticker with the kind of Gerald Scarfe writing on it and so on, but this one doesn't. I don't know whether this is a first press or not. I actually found this in a skip at a job that I had about 30 years ago, and it's in minty condition, but it's not an album that I play very often or enjoy. There's far greater works by Pink Floyd, in my opinion, but there you go. Pink Floyd The Wall. Okay, a 7-inch single. Okay, this is Francoise Hardy, and this is an EP that came out from 1963 on Disque Vogue. So Francoise Hardy, my favourite French artist. I'm always collecting her records, and yeah, this has her first single "Tu les garçons et les filles" from her first album, with 3 other songs. So that's Francoise Hardy. Okay, coloured vinyl album. Another relatively, these are all fairly recent purchases. We've got the wonderful Wicker Man. Yeah, I've got the DVD with the soundtrack already and all the versions. I absolutely love the film and the soundtrack equally. Yeah, Paul Giovanni, just wonderfully unique soundtrack. This comes on a kind of translucent kind of yellow vinyl, which you can't really appreciate in the light, but that's what it is. And it's going to take me half an hour to get it back in. Maybe not. Okay, and finally an album from 1982. I could have picked all kinds of records. Yazoo Upstairs at Eric's, La Variety Weekend, etc. This is the one that I keep going back to, though. I absolutely love this album. It's a behemoth of a pop album, in my opinion, from the early 80s. It's the wonderful Lexicon of Love ABC. Fantastic record. What can you say? Martin Fry, Trevor Horn, Marriage Made in Heaven. Wonderfully over the top, orchestral, romantic, idealistic, pretentious in places, yes, but God, is it good. Wonderful stuff. So that's it, guys. So all I can say is thank you very much to Rob for putting this together. Hope everybody jumps on it and does a response as well. I'll look forward to seeing them. Cheers, guys. See you soon. All the best. Bye bye.